Hey guys, and today I thought we'd have a bit of a change of topic and shift towards a controversial and spark a bit of a debate. And I thought, as we're in our last year of education we have to do, I thought I'd choose the topic of schools. And I don't know about you, but I've had very different experiences of all the different schools I've been in. Primary school, bringing back a surge of heartwarming memories of bike day with my friends, Christmas parties, playground games, junior school discos, and then trips to France and athletics competitions, and high school, getting ready for moving on, sports, travelling to China, which was actually 4 years ago today, and sixth form, finding who I am and where I want to go in life. But school can bring a variety of controversial topics which many people have attitudes on, and I wanted to discuss these from exams, uniform, phones, and life skills. We'll see if we agree and highlight the complexity of deciding on one set of rules for all schools. Now, before we begin, if you two had to sum up your school journey and memories, what would you two say?
See, it's kind of strange for me to think about because I'm still here at CNS and I went
haven't
here.
changed,
I've been
yeah.
This is my 7th year here,
Oh my
so
God.
I just know the school inside out basically. Like obviously there's a lot of things I don't know, but still, it's just kind of all seemed a bit like a blur.
And you haven't left for so long.
Yeah, it's
trapped.
Like it doesn't seem. It kind of. I can still remember starting here in year 7, and then it just kind of. It feels like the film has been like fast forwarded,
Yeah.
and now I'm suddenly here, and
You're about to leave.
Yeah, it's really weird. I suppose a lot of that was because I kind of struggled throughout it, and I didn't really know how to express it. But
Yeah.
but now, like, you know, I'm much happier. So, yeah, I don't know whether I feel like I'm still a bit scared that they'll kind of reprimand me for saying I didn't enjoy high school.
I didn't enjoy high school, I admit
No.
that, so
I didn't
that's
either.
fine.
But your high school's not here.
Yeah, true, that is true,
Oh, you
yeah.
can say whatever you
No,
want.
but you
Yeah.
say you say you don't like the experience. It wasn't like it's just not the school, because otherwise you wouldn't have stayed on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's more.
Yeah, but in all honesty, the sixth form is much better than
It is.
much better than high school.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I think for me, for change, because I changed from primary, junior, and high school and sixth form were all different.
Right.
So it is completely different each time. Like this is like my fourth school
I'm the
I've been
same,
to.
actually, yeah.
That's what I mean. It changes each time, which I think is different. But to be honest, when I got to year 10, I was ready to leave.
Yeah.
I was like, get me out and let me I'm ready to move on. I am. What would you say, Lana, for yours?
So, I mean, I think I've said previously in different episodes that I love CNS. I love being here. This past year has been the happiest year I think I've ever had. But I've also previously alluded to my awful high school experience, and unfortunately that extended to primary school, which I also hated thoroughly. One of the good memories I have from primary school is I used to fake sick literally every day so I could go home because I didn't want to be there. So yeah, that was Lana's primary school experience. And I mean, school, if I had to sum it up, it's been really challenging for so many different reasons, but I like to think that I've finally found like a light at the end of the tunnel.
It's all been worth it eventually.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I guess.
So let's go into it. Start with the first controversial topic. So phones. So it's clear, obviously, we're living in a society which is completely and utterly driven by technology and the media. And when you used to leave school, you used to be able to escape it, but now you've got the constant reel of Instagram and everything. So, and the thought of leaving your phone at home sounds completely archaic to a mind of a student now. Phones have benefits, being communication to parents at home, reducing reliance on school offices, helping getting to school, bus passes and cards, and helping academically with the massive vat of information you have all the time. But people always talk about phones, always bring about the negatives, such as distraction, preventing real life conversations, and providing jealousy, and being able to just never escape the pressure and glare from the media. And I think with any topic, it's always good to weigh up either side. And on Focus of Schools, I think we need to actually realise the potential it has on a cause on someone's mental health, the pressure, not being able to escape it, not being able to engage in proper conversations, and But I do think at the same time we need to realise that we are going to have to shift to more technology. Obviously with COVID, we all work from home, so we were driven by technology. But at the same time, it's about finding the balance between real life and your social life online. So what do you two think about phones in school?
So at my old school, we weren't allowed our phones out anywhere at any time of the day for any
wow.
reason. And the kind of justification for this is that that they used was that if a student uses their phone to bully another student during school hours, it would be the school's responsibility. But
So
then
they're just dodging it.
yeah. So they don't care what happened out of school, but in school they wanted to cover their asses. So I do understand, and to an extent I agree that yeah, that is fair. That is a fair reason to ban phones.
Yeah.
But I would always be annoyed with this rule because I didn't have many friends. I was quite lonely, and my phone was like I could like text people, I could like read things, I could do things, and it was a source of comfort which I certainly missed at times. And I mean I ended up spending a lot of time sitting and reading, which probably was better for me in hindsight. But I mean, phones are going to be a negative influence on our mental health, no matter if they're banned or not.
True.
I don't know what the solution to this problem is, but I don't think banning phones is a good idea.
No, definitely not. Because if we're living in a society which is so driven by them, if you ban it entirely, then it's just about creating a healthy relationship between the balance. That's what it is. And it's not banning them entirely, and it's not keeping them entirely. It's the balance which you can still create like proper conversations.
I also think that the second you tell kids you cannot go on your phones
They
from
want to go on
8:30
it.
till 3, that's all
Yeah,
they want
that's
to do.
what I
Because
mean.
you
Reverse
just-
psychology.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
that's what
leave
it is.
You just don't say anything. They'll use them when they need to.
Yeah.
And then they'll put them away when they don't need them.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. About...
I feel like it was like that because in year 7 when I first joined we were like allowed phones, but then I swear I don't know when it was. I think it was like halfway through year 7 and they suddenly just said we're not allowed phones anymore, and they were like would confiscate them.
Yeah.
But I quite liked it. Like I think it was a bit healthier when we were allowed phones because everyone kind of had the kind of intelligence to know when and
And
when
the
not
choice
to use
of when
them.
to, that's what I mean.
Exactly, and as Lana was saying, like people who like if they felt alone in the school environment, they would have a kind of distraction.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do have like friends online now
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So if you're preventing that, like when you're at break and lunch, you want an escape from it, and if you're preventing that, it's damaging.
It makes you really resent the school. It makes you really angry.
Yeah, true, exactly.
Yeah.
I suppose one of the downsides to the allowing of phones is that I didn't actually have a smartphone until like just over a year ago. I had a Nokia brick. So a lot of the time the teachers used to ask the students to get their phones out in class
And like
to
take
do
photos
work
and stuff. Yeah.
And I couldn't do that. So my parents got a bit annoyed about that, but so I suppose it swings around abouts, but yeah, didn't really affect me
it's
personally.
very much just weighing it up and seeing what works for you. But one of the things I'm most passionate about is uniforms and dress codes. And I do see both sides, because I know that forcing students to wear a set of uniform, you've got no self-expression, no individuality. And it's like in 2020 it was proven that like over 500,000 students were sent home for like not conforming to uniform, which is mad because like you might be just wearing like the wrong socks or something.
I mean, it's
stupid.
believable.
It's believable.
Yeah.
I do believe it.
It's believable and unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And uniforms just force into like complete gender restrictions where like boys are for trousers, skirts are for girls. And if you are like struggling with your gender identity, that must feel like awful, like to not know like you have to stick and you have to wear for this. And like with an ever-changing society, I think for schools they need to realise the need to adapt uniforms and realise that they can be restrictive if they don't allow this change. And I think it's obviously the same with sixth form. You can just see who people are completely because you can wear what you want. The expression is so like actually beautiful in a sense because anyone can wear what they want. You can dye your hair, you can cut your hair, you can do anything you want, so you can show who you actually really are. Actually reduces the stress on parents to afford uniforms because obviously with the growing like cost of living and everything like that, an extra cost of being like, oh mum, my school shoes gone, you've got to go to Clark's to get them though because my school will not allow ones from Primark. That's what used to happen at our school all the time. And it's like the thought of like, oh no, you've got to get me a shirt. I need a new tie, but it has to be from like uniform shop. It can't be from anywhere else, and it has to be a logo skirt because obviously a normal skirt just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
It's just not the same.
So, what do you guys think? Ban uniforms or keep them?
Well, I feel like throughout my time at CNS, they were always kind of strict on it, even though like. I suppose compared with other schools, like it has quite a lenient.
Yeah, your uniform here is nothing.
I suppose the uniform itself isn't too bad, but then that's kind of balanced out.
There's restrictions in it.
Yeah, and they when I remember them saying a lot like, "Oh, we're going to have a crackdown on uniform," and they would make us like line up in form and check our shoes.
Yeah, no, that happened in my
school. And check whether people's skirts are stretchy.
Yeah.
Like and
we had our skirt lengths measured.
No.
Yeah.
We didn't have that. I don't remember that happening.
That is intense.
No. But yeah, it never really made any sense to me how finicky they were about it.
Like, I know.
What does it matter whether someone's skirt is stretchy or whether the material is like
doesn't
affect
your learning? Like you're sat there and you're like, oh, stretchy skirt, I'm not going to be able to write. Like it makes no sense.
I also remember not being like allowed to wear like coloured socks because it would like distract people from their learning or something.
Just looking at the feet and be like, oh, they have pink socks on. I'm not
so brightly coloured, I can't get my eyes away from them.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you're distracted by brightly coloured socks, that's a problem for you, not for the person who's wearing the socks.
I think you're going to be distracted by a lot more if socks are distracting you to start off with. Like that's going to do a lot more.
But it's. I just think it's just kind of wrong to expect people to spend their own money on like a school uniform when you're obliged to go to school. So I think like uniforms should kind of be provided by the government if there is a uniform at all.
Yeah, because like when you go to a job, the uniform's provided most of the time. So why is it not provided in a school? Like you have to go, and the uniform, like it makes no difference no matter what they say about like performance levels and all of that. If a child is comfy in what they're wearing, then they're going to be focusing the best. That's what I think. At the end of the day, if you don't feel comfortable in what you're wearing, then you're not going to focus.
Yeah. So I agree with uniforms to an extent, as I think forcing everyone to wear the same thing makes it less obvious that some students aren't as well off financially. And that can be embarrassing, especially when you're in high school. If like all your clothes are from like the charity shop and Primark and all your...
I'm proud of that for me.
And but when you're in like year 7 and year 8 and like then, but it's all about brands, and you'd feel insecure because you don't have the branded like hoodies and like sweatshirts and the branded dresses. And I think it's quite unfair to put younger pupils, especially 11 and 12-year-olds, in that situation when they're already dealing with phones and other things. But what I don't agree with about uniforms is the cost of them. I can't talk for CNS, but at Wyndham High, where I went, the uniform was stupidly overpriced and it could only be bought in a few shops. And I understand having a branded blazer or shirt, but every single item of the girls' uniform had to be from a specific distributor. The skirts, which were really ugly, had to cost £25 each, and you had to have multiple. The blazers were £35. The PE kit, not including trainers, which had to have white soles, therefore making them more expensive, cost £70. There is a huge gender disparity with the costs. Boys only have to have the blazer from the uniform shop, but their shirts and trousers can be bought in the supermarket. And Wyndham were actually in the news recently about uniforms and genders because they responded very, very poorly for calls for shorts to be allowed in the uniform during the extreme heat. Instead of saying, yes, people can wear shorts because it's hot, they said, we're going to enact a gender-neutral uniform policy where no one can wear shorts, but boys can wear one of the £25 skirts. I can't imagine many parents buying their child a skirt just to wear for like 2 days of the year. I think letting everyone wear shorts would have been a much easier fix for that. And it just shows how out of touch the teachers can be. And then they try and like parade it around as, oh, we're actually being really progressive and gender neutral. They're just trying to use that because then when people criticise them, the school can accuse them of being sexist.
Yeah, that is true, The shorts would have been such an easy solution.
Yeah,
it's
also,
not hard.
Yeah, and also like especially like also for the girls because like the only option they had was with the skirt.
Yeah,
and some,
exactly.
Would not want to wear a skirt.
Yeah, I used to wear shorts all the time in primary school because we had the option of like shorts or a skirt. But it's always like, no, you're a girl, so you want to wear a skirt.
And you're a boy, you could wear a skirt if you're a boy, but you've got to buy one and they're £25.
Exactly.
Or if you're not a girl or a boy, good luck. like there is nothing for you.
That's what I mean. You've got no choice at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think it's time to focus on something which I kind of hate but love at the same time. So exams. Obviously people are becoming concerned with the effect of exams as schools are like becoming like exam factories and lessons only focus on exams rather than a breadth of knowledge. So like the results of exams divide children immediately into people. You're categorised into underachievers, like achieving, or overachievers. And it's just being categorised into what you do into your one day. Like what if you were ill that one day, or you'd had some bad news, you still got to come in and do it, and you're basing your whole performance off that one thing. And I don't know about you, but the feeling of a bad exam can dampen my mood for a long time, and it feels like all my motivation focus throughout the whole year has been for nothing. And I actually found out in Finland you have no exams or like formals until you're 18.
Wow.
So you don't have that focus for a long time, and I think it's actually better to use more alternative ways for assessments to show the knowledge rather than planting everything into a couple of hours as an example and your whole thing's based off that. And I think you should remove the pressure from being in one exam and like broaden the true view of who you are, because I actually prefer coursework a lot, like not just like one block coursework but little things over the years to show how you're like progressing is going to be so much better than shoving yourself in an exam hall for 3 hours and going good luck. That's me.
So I mean, for myself, if exams were no longer going to occur, I'd be heartbroken purely because I've worked so hard over the past year on my A-levels, and I don't have much against A-levels, but my real gripe is with GCSEs. And I think there should be a much, much bigger focus on coursework, as Sophie said, especially at GCSEs, in the subjects where they're appropriate, so like English and history.
Yeah.
Because preparing for exams is both stressful and it disadvantages the pupils that are just as bright as their counterparts but do not perform well in exams for whatever reason. And I mean, I always resented the English Lit exams the most. I'm sorry, Sophie. Because we had to memorise loads of quotes and themes from, I think, like 3 books and a Shakespeare play and 15 poems.
I know.
It was a memory test, not a test of literacy or understanding.
It's just if you could recall the quotes and say who did it and when they said it, you'd get the grade. But if not, you couldn't.
It's like it doesn't really include much analytical thinking.
No,
like, it's
absolutely not.
Just like this, like rote learning. It's just like remembering facts and figures. And
This person said this thing in this scene, and that linked to this.
It's grade 9. There you go.
Yeah, it's like learning through repetition rather than actually being able to apply it in
that's
context.
what I mean. Yeah.
Leading on from that, like as you and Lana have said, Sophie, like coursework. I think there should be more of a focus on coursework. Some 100%. People may not respond the best to that, but like I think there should be the option to do more coursework than an exam, because like it is as you say, it's not particularly, it might not be particularly fair to kind of judge a student's entire academic performance throughout a 2-year course purely based on like a 3-hour exam on one day. So but like with coursework, like if you do it throughout the course, then you'd have
it's
like
more
the
manageable
evidence
as well, and it's less stressful.
Yeah, you can break it up into like small bite-sized chunks.
I think like assessments and exams though should be just adapted for every student, because different students work better. So you obviously want an exam, but I would rather have more like practical coursework and actually different ways rather than forcing everyone into an exam hall. I think it's not as progressive as it could be.
Yeah, I think it just like inflicts unnecessary stress on
definitely. And especially like there's a growing concern of mental health in young people especially. So if you're making sure that everyone has to do an exam and has to do this, then it doesn't, I don't know, I think it's just like, I get obviously very stressed for exams, and I think without that, and if it was more spaced out and broken up over the year, I think it would be a bit more manageable. So I think to end this, to voice our biggest want for the educational system, no matter how controversial this may be. So for me, I think schools need to focus on developing skills for the real world. Finances, managing money, savings, the cost of life, realising how things are actually really expensive, and to prevent students feeling overwhelmed when they leave and enter the real world. So what would you two say?
I mean, I think that just to quickly counter your point about real world skills, I don't know if it'd make a huge difference, because definitely when I was 14, I did not want to learn about taxes. I didn't care. But I think that in general, as well as peppering in bits, I agree with the point on making education more tailored to each child and not forcing them to either undergo subjects or assessment models just for the sake of it. And it should be adjusted more to them so they can do their best.
Yeah.
And I also think that schools need to give, especially younger students, a bit more space just to be them and exist outside of the classroom. I think that young people spend, like, when older people talk about their like best memories of being a child, they always go back to school. But I think we should be given more space to live
Find
life.
who you are younger, rather than exactly, when you like finding who you are younger and more expression, I think.
Yeah, rather than treating the school system as some kind of like machine to manufacture people who I don't know, people who can win in the global race.
That's what I mean. It's like capitalism. Yes, you'll make money. I'm like, oh great.
Yeah. And if you disagree with me, you are part of the anti-growth coalition.
Yeah.
You're anti-capitalist. You're a communist. But I think it should be just kind of about like autonomy over what you learn, like a kind of freedom, like. You might want to learn about like finances. You should have the option to do that.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be forced to do it. You should have the option to do it. So it's like, I think you should have the option to learn about real world skills, because if it was there and people could go of their own accord and there wasn't a commitment to it, then maybe more people would do so.
Yeah, I do definitely agree with you, because for me it's been recently like learning to drive and getting a car. It's all started to hit me, the real cost of everything is nothing what I expected. And I think if I had the option of learning about that before, then I think it would have been felt less overwhelming.
Yeah.
Also, class sizes, I think they should be smaller.
Yeah.
Like obviously that like incurs a cost, and like you need more staff, you need more funding, and obviously that's what enables private schools to have smaller classes. But like, I don't know, in an ideal world, I think schools should have more funding to dedicate like more effort into making class sizes much smaller, because like people learn better.
One-to-one learning, exactly. It's much more focused and specialised.
And I suppose apart from that, like, I suppose a lot of different curriculums, but especially the sciences, don't really incorporate many creative aspects to them.
True, yeah.
So like that should just kind of come into it.
Just for having it more broad rather than just maths and science and English. So don't know about you, but I've quite liked the change to a new debate style episode, and we'll do many more. And I hope you enjoyed our insight into the world of education, and it's made to think about what you agree, disagree with, and want to change to. And join us next week as we have more of a debate on another controversial topic.